Welcome to this week's episode of the Ambitious, Awakened, and Aligned podcast. If you've been following along lately, you know that something has been brewing, and I am so excited to share with you exactly what that is. So, what we have coming up is something we've been working on for almost a year. It is a curated, powerful women's leadership and lifestyle festival, and it's going to be hosted at the Pillar and Post in the stunning Niagara-on-the-Lake. Wake the F Up Festival. Whatever the F is, you need to wake up, whether it's fun, focus, freedom, or the other one. We have designed a transformative experience just for you. This isn't just another leadership conference. It's a celebration. It's a breakthrough. And it's coming together as powerful women ready to align your success with true fulfillment. Imagine connecting with like-minded souls, diving deep into professional growth, and walking away not just inspired, but truly awakened. We're talking about electric energy, real conversations, and actionable insights that you can take back into your business and life. We've got an amazing lineup of speakers, including the powerhouse Olympic champion Elizabeth Manley, the unstoppable swagger coach Leslie M., and so many other absolutely powerhouse women who are ready to pour all of their gifts into you. I'll have all the details linked in the show notes, so make sure you check that out after the episode. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. It is time. It is your time to find another way to actually lean into being ambitious, awakened, and aligned. Now, let's dive into today's conversation and keep that momentum going. Let's go! Welcome to the Ambitious, Awakened, and Aligned podcast. I'm your host, Laurie Hawkins, and today we're diving into a topic that challenges these traditional notions of expertise and embraces instead the profound power of personal and collective transformation. As leaders, we often look to gurus or subject matter experts to guide us. But what if the true path to success actually lies within you? Well, let's explore this paradigm. Let's see if we can shift it together, look at it from a whole new lens. Because transformation, it's not really necessarily about following a guru. It's actually about discovering the power within ourselves to evolve and grow beyond the lens of traditional expertise. And this shift in mindset is crucial really for ambitious leaders, for CEOs, for business owners who strive for alignment between your work, your business life, and your true soul. So let's first kind of dive into this guru myth. For decades, and truly for most of my life, I understand that we have been conditioned to look up to gurus, to find subject matter experts, and really to ultimately seek outside of ourselves for sources of knowledge and guidance. And there's great value in that. There's no question. I'm not sharing this perspective so that we stop learning and growing from other people, because I believe wholeheartedly that we're always grabbing a hand of someone who's gone before us, and we're holding a hand backwards for someone who's coming along. I think, though, that we're in an era of more alongsideness, of more sharing vulnerabilities and stories of things that we've been through, so those experiences can support those coming along, and that we can have that same opportunity versus I have all the knowledge, I have all the expertise in a certain field. And obviously there's areas where this is vital, like doctors and scientists in many ways. So I'm really more talking about this professional, personal growth element of things. So I just want to make sure we don't kind of muddy that. And so we do want to learn from people that have walked the path before us. I think what becomes really dangerous, and a trap that I've certainly fallen into, is when we become overly reliant on external validation and guidance. Because as leaders, it's essential to cultivate our own wisdom and trust in our instincts. And it doesn't mean that we should ignore expert thought processes or advice, but rather we should look at ways to integrate it with our own experiences and insights. And by doing so, we create a more holistic approach to leadership that aligns with our personal values and goals. Let me give you a quick example. So consider a leader who constantly seeks advice from business gurus or other people and never actually takes the time to reflect on their own experiences or their own intuition. They may end up feeling overwhelmed and disconnected from their own true purpose. And on the other hand, a leader who maybe balances that external guidance and support with self-reflection so that they can make authentic and aligned decisions. I know when I was early in my career, I spent so much time seeking out and sharing other people's perspectives. And to be true, I didn't actually know what my own perspectives were because I was so busy looking for other people's perspectives. And so I started to realize that my own voice was being shadowed. My own ideas weren't really listened to maybe as much because probably I didn't feel confident in them if I really go back. And also because I was always using other people's insights or statistics or thoughts, that even my own voice was just getting watered down in that. And so it took me some, growth and experience to really start to recognize that in order to bring value to my people and to an organization, I actually had to start going internal. I had to start adding my own reflection and intuition into those things so that I was bringing something unique, because it doesn't take a lot of effort just to share other people's ideas. I really needed to add my own insights to that. And so that, I think, is just about growth. So if you're a young leader and you're listening, really understand that your value comes from your own insights and your own ability to navigate through your thoughts and your voice. And people want to hear that. That's what makes you genuinely you. So notice where you may fall into this trap. And also notice opportunities where you can start to trust it just a little bit differently, where you can look at your own internal guidance system. So play with this over the course of the next couple of weeks after listening to this. Play with how you can incorporate your voice differently versus always looking for another guru to add to. So that's sort of where the guru myth came from. Now let's talk a little bit about the power of personal transformation. It's a journey, and it really starts from within. It's not going to come from an external resource that you transform into the version of you that you're meant to be, to your true self. That's not an external game. That is an internal game. It requires you to be vulnerable, to be open to change, to be committed to continuous growth. And it's not at all about perfection. It's not at all about perfection. It's about progress. It's about instinct. It's about alignment to your own internal values, your own internal voice, your own internal perspectives. So I want to share a leadership story of someone who I've had a great opportunity to work with on their own growth and development. And so this is Sarah, the story of Sarah, and I'm going to call her the reluctant leader. So I want you to meet Sarah. Sarah is a professional who has always been a solid performer in her industry. And she's well respected for her ability to execute on complex projects with precision. And yet Sarah had never been a leader. And all of a sudden, she had this opportunity to step into a leadership position when how she described, charismatic leader had actually moved on to something else. And she really looked up to that leader. She felt inspired by them. She felt like this leader always guided her. And so all of a sudden, this leader's gone for her. And now she's unexpectedly thrust into a leadership position. And she's kind of looking for direction because this person now is gone. How did Sarah feel? She felt overwhelmed. She felt this massive sense of responsibility. And at first, she really struggled with self-doubt. She thought, I'm no guru. Here comes the I'm no guru. I'm not a natural born leader. How can I actually lead this team? And so in working with Sarah, and this is what I love about, a coach is so different from a guru in that a coach is looking and seeking the opportunity to bring the best out in you versus always trying to sort of tell. It's more a questioning opportunity of let's find this within you. And so Sarah made a decision that would change her leadership approach. And instead of trying to mimic the style of other gurus or other leaders that she admired or people that she was following, she actually paused and embraced the opportunity to look at what were her strengths. And in there, we incorporate the different assessments that I've kind of shared with you from this clover leaf. So please DM me if that's something that you would love to learn more about. They're so powerful to lean into really understanding who you are, which is a big part of trusting yourself and leaning into your own strengths, not somebody else's, but who are you and what defines your greatest strengths so that you can choose to lead on your own terms with those things, embrace those strengths while still learning from the people around you. And also your team is your greatest asset. So she started leaning into learning from her team and asking absolutely powerful questions of her team and then listening deeply to what they were saying. She held space for them to share their ideas, concerns, what they were thinking of for how they could grow together as an organization. And she quickly realized that leadership wasn't about having all the answers. It's not about being the most charismatic person in the room. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels valued and empowered. And that requires a little bit of space. It requires you to hear your own voice while you hear other people's voices. So Sarah started to integrate the wisdom of her more experienced colleagues with the fresh perspective of new team members. And then she also looked at ways that she could add in her own expertise and her own insights and perspectives so that it became this blended group of people who were sharing innovative ideas and working together to really challenge that status quo. Sorry. Got some marbles in there right there. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do that section again, Danielle. So Sarah began listening deeply to her team. She held space for them to share their ideas, concerns, aspirations, and she quickly realized that leadership wasn't about having all the answers or being the most charismatic person in the room. It was about creating an environment where everyone felt valued and empowered to contribute. And she started to integrate the wisdom of less experienced people, more experienced people, people with fresh perspectives, people of all sorts of different ages and cross-generational. And what she came to learn was that really by allowing everyone to have a voice, to have their own perspectives, and then her to determine how to align those, bring her own self-reflection and intuition to this, amazing things started to happen. She challenged the status quo. She challenged that old belief system that she has to take it from people who are older, wiser. Sometimes I find this in today's work environment. I'm having my greatest ahas from younger people that come to the table with fresh new perspectives. So I think it's about having an openness to all of it. So the result is that Sarah's journey as a leader completely transformed not just her team, her organization, and their results. And she really leaned into understanding leadership isn't always just about the title. And this is something that I really want to hone in on. Leadership is actually rarely just about the title. It's about the ability to form connection. It's about the ability to ensure that everyone around you brings their greatest strengths because you amplify that for them. And it's about understanding how to facilitate transformation in yourself and in others. And it's about embracing your unique style and those around you. It's about fostering a culture of collective brainstorming and conversation. And so Sarah became the kind of leader that people truly admired and wanted to learn from. And her own confidence amplified as she understood that really by amplifying others, you amplify yourself. I think Sarah's story is such a powerful reminder that leadership isn't about fitting into a mold or following a guru. It's really about tapping into your own strengths, seeking guidance from those around you who've walked the path before, but also gaining new insights from those who are just beginning their journey. It creates this circle of growth, this ever growing circle of growth where everyone is a teacher and everyone is a student. And that's a little shift away from that guru perspective. So, with that story in mind, let's talk about the collective transformation that can occur. And what I mean by collective transformation is when you foster a culture of growth and alignment within your organization and communities. And this involves creating spaces where every voice is heard, every heart is honored, every strength is amplified, every person has a voice and has a perspective. And I really think about our upcoming Wake the F Up Leadership and Lifestyle Festival, and that this is the environment that we want to create. We want to encourage collective transformation through workshops, discussions, experiences, and participants sharing their own experiences, their own vulnerabilities, so that we can explore ways of being that align with our true selves. And we have someone who I really feel accelerates and electrifies this belief system. One of our featured speakers is Elizabeth Manley. She's an Olympic champion. She's a life-changing coach, and she's coming to inspire her journey of resiliency and mental wellness, her insights into overcoming challenges and staying mentally strong, and reminding us that leadership is not just about winning on the outside, but it's about cultivating that inner strength and clarity. Her story will encourage every one of our guests to look within and harness that power within for collective growth. And I'm just bringing that up as an example in this conversation to remind you that instead of seeking that one person who's on the mountaintop or who's, standing at the stage and speaking at us, I think that model of sitting there and maybe being inspired and taking notes it's gone. I think it's gone. I think it's more about sharing stories and learning from experiences that other people have had. And then again, sometimes we need the expert knowledge blended in there, but it's about the conversations that happen after. I had just yesterday, I had a call with two incredibly powerhouse women leaders within the banking industry. And we were talking about the fact that they actually get asked to speak at different conferences, and that it's a lot of work to get prepared and to get organized. And last year, they were instead asked to be on a Q&A panel. And they said they felt like they had more impact in that Q&A session than any time they had ever spoken from stage. And the reason for that is that people got to ask what was on their mind. They got to actually bring forward things that they were reflecting on. They had the opportunity to talk as a group about the different insights and experiences that they had had. And so we've talked as an advisory board for the festival a lot about we don't actually want those quote unquote gurus from stage. Instead, we want people that will lead conversations that have people transform, that have people become their true selves, that have you be able to start to hear your own inner voice. And they're a catalyst for that. We absolutely need catalysts that help, bring that frequency up for us or help us think about things in a different, unique way. And this is where the inspiration for the podcast came from. And so what are some practical steps around this? Because we always want to give you some inspired action to walk away with. The first really is about self-reflection. And this I say almost with every conversation we have on the podcast. Set some time aside, pop that cork or pour that beautiful cup of tea or coffee, and really lean into reflecting on, are you trusting yourself, or are you always seeking someone else's perspective to share? And how could you look at really leaning into your own intuition? So take some time to self-reflect. The second is actually to seek, when you do, diverse perspectives. Because I think also something I've noticed as a little bit of a habitual cycle in business is we seek people who are going to affirm what we think versus seeking perspectives on people who think something completely different. And a lot of this comes from this belief system of right, wrong, good, bad, win, lose. Instead of, hang on a second, I want to actually know different views from my own, because those can actually foster this culture of more collective growth. We are all different, and having unique perspectives around different topics or ideas or things that you want to implement, that is where power comes in how you move forward. And another idea that you can implement is to truly embrace vulnerability. And Brené Brown, one of my absolute game-changing thought processes for me, growing up in the environment of very male-dominated industries, came from telecommunications. And so that industry being very male-dominated was, I think, this, and I know that this goes for men and women. Men are really working to embrace vulnerability as well. That the cultures I see that allow vulnerability create space for vulnerable conversations are actually the organizations that are moving forward in profound ways. We want to gain vulnerable insights into the things that people are challenged with, because if we can open up at the leadership table about that, we actually are going to start to understand what our customers are thinking, what our people are thinking. And it's vital to the future growth of organizations, but it's also vital to the humanity of an organization and people being able to show up as themselves and lead from that place. And so I just encourage embracing vulnerability, and it starts with you. If you can be vulnerable, those around you will feel safer to be vulnerable. So how can you create an environment where you embrace vulnerability? Next one is, and this may seem counterintuitive to what we've been discussing, but continuous learning. And not, again, from the perspective of one person's insight. Continuous improvement, continuous learning, finding ways to grow and develop other parts of your brain and aligning your heart and your brain and all of these things. These are your path to being able to hear your own voice and understand your own tuition. So read new books, engage in new experiences, always be looking for ways to expand your horizons, always from the lens of stepping into becoming the truest form of you. And the last practical step I have for you is to honor your body. Remember, your body is your business partner. So pay attention to your physical and emotional well-being as much as you take care of the other parts of you. I spent years making sure that I kept my brain going. So reading lots of books, listening to lots of podcasts, taking lots of courses, and I left my body behind. And once I was able to bring the body back into the story, it's had a profound impact on how I feel emotionally, physically, otherwise, my focus, my ability to think of new things, my ability to hear my own voice. So honor your body. So how do you get a quick win here? How about start by identifying one area in your life where you can make a small change? One of those practical steps that you could actually incorporate so that you can start really believing in your own voice and guidance system, and just start playing. Everything is play. Everything is practice, learning how to incorporate these new insights and ideas. And please share with us anything, any aha moments you have, anything that you learn by playing on this practice. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of rethinking expertise, of looking at gurus from a different perspective, and embracing your own transformation. Remember, the true path to success, it really does lie within you. Stay ambitious, stay awakened, and lean into deep alignment. And until next time, I'm signing off.